I guess we're all the regular members are here, including Ken, so. So that's the voting. Ready to get a look at the minutes?
Yep. Yeah, right in my detail.
Any edits, comments?
Gary, can you send me, I don't think I have it, the list, your great list of all the conserved lands and everything. Can you email that to me?
Sure.
Because sometimes when you say them, I'm like, I'm not sure I have the right names and everything, so.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not sure I have all the right. We'll get, it's a matter, you know,
Yeah.
it's in progress, but I.
For Peter? Or-
Yeah, send in for the paying the bill.
Okay,
I can't, if I send it in before.
I don't know how he did that. If he goes to Barbara and just says, can I get a copy of the proof? I send him.
I sent the whole package to.
Okay.
To Amy or whatever. That way she doesn't have to go fetch. And your notes are as reliable as anybody's.
Okay, so the minutes are okay, then we'll approve them as submitted. Treasurer's report.
Yes, so besides the. So we earned interest of $1,470.10. And we had a minor debit of $100,000. That check did go out on the 2nd, and it did, we got no word that it did show up itself.
Yeah.
For the Landry project.
Yeah.
So.
Good.
I don't know, I don't think there was any need for us to be at the lawyers for that.
I think it closes like next week.
Well, yeah, I'm glad.
You are?
Yeah, that's, I figure. We should
So our,
have somebody there.
our balance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our balance is close to the number that we were working with last meeting. It's $499,228.80. And I sent it to you.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, as you can see, we don't really have any new business. And I thought about not even holding a meeting, but it seemed like there was enough old business and because we only have one meeting scheduled this month, assuming nobody wants to meet on Thanksgiving. I was just wondering whether we might want to meet the week after Thanksgiving. I guess that's the 5th Thursday. I mean, it depends, obviously, if there's any business to conduct, but,
Oh. No, that would be okay. There's no energy meeting then.
So
Up to you. If
Yeah.
you decide
Yeah.
there's reason to have a meeting, I can make it.
yeah,
So.
it's okay for people if we need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one factor there that I know of right now is the planning board. Big meeting, they're dealing with Young Road, I guess, the following Tuesday, so if we needed to do anything related to that, it'd be something to discuss, but we'll see what else shakes out, I guess, and play it by ear. Okay. And there's no items right now from the planning board, so. As we may have heard, the Dudzik land that we offered or recommended 65,000 go to them, did get approved unanimously by the select board. And the water district folks are quite pleased to get that.
And there was a grant that came through.
Yeah, and I didn't really hear about, I saw a reference from Rob. My understanding is that Joyce Capiello was gonna go to the meeting that they held it. And it was good timing that we did it when we did, because the select board could run, rule on it. And then the next morning, I guess they're having a meeting of this grant, the Drinking Water, Groundwater Trust Fund, as it's called. And I don't.
Yeah, what I wasn't clear on is we committed that money with the expectation that they were going to have to raise more. And I don't know what happened.
Yeah, and there's little news on that. The deal with the Drinking Water Trust Fund is you can only get 50%. That's it. So you can't get more.
Right.
So it's whatever the budget is. So we found out with the Goodwill So anyway, that's all we can get from them. But anyway, they were very encouraged that obviously having money in from the select board to say, hey, you know, the town is behind this, not 100%, but 65,000, whatever percent that is, you know, is a good thing, certainly. But it may be that they did, I don't think they were gonna, you know, decide it that day, so I'm not sure what Rob was referring to.
Yeah, I couldn't.
But it may be that they have. I mean, they seem pretty optimistic, you know, it's such an obvious drinking water issue.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
a lot of the other ones are not as immediate as, hey, we're protecting an actual
yeah, like Goodwill.
groundwater protection zone.
So the balance might be funded by this, the town.
Well, that's still to be determined.
It's about 60,000.
You know, we said, look, you know, see how things shake out, we might be able to come up with more. That was kind of our message. One thing that the water district folks said, I can't remember if it was Dave, Toddy, or the other one who was there, that they were looking into another grant source that they've gotten some good feedback from. And also somebody mentioned that I guess Connor had contacted one of our state reps to put in a good word for us. Len Turcott, actually. So, hey.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, I guess he knows somebody on the board that decides.
Can I jump
Yeah.
in here?
Sure, yeah, sorry.
Why did he go to Len rather than Cassie?
Because I think because he knew somebody there, or he had some, you know, existing relationship. I didn't really hear any more about it. I didn't inquire further at the time. So,
Okay,
yeah.
that's fine. Whatever, you know, strange bedfellows. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, but you know,
Now I'll be quiet again.
yeah. And yeah, so, you know, it's still uncertain where the other, 15,000-20,000, I guess, that they're looking for.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what
Somewhere
it
in that
was. I
range.
thought it was a little more than that. And I thought it needed to be committed for the grant to go through, but maybe not.
No, I don't think that was.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, obviously, the more the better. It would
Right.
have been great if they had 100% of the funding, but, and the other bit of news that actually, Dwayne Hyde mentioned to me out in the parking lot after the meeting, was that, they talked to the, Dudzik estate, whatever, the family, and, two different items, trying to remember the first one. Well, anyone, the one that we're most interested in is that they were open to have public access and actually create a passageway,
Oh, really?
a 10-foot
Oh, good.
stretch through the residence piece of the land. If you remember, there's that little portion that sticks out in the Micah way, I guess it's called. So that seems to meet some of our requests that we were concerned about. So hopefully we can, we'll see what, you know, what else shakes out, but hopefully.
How did he, I thought he said that right after the meeting, because I thought he didn't know at the meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant the meeting with the select board.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, no,
okay.
This was
Oh.
just the other day, yeah, Monday night. Yeah, so that was kind of
Okay.
one bit of news
Yeah.
that's most relevant to us.
But there would
Is
still
it,
be no parking or trails.
Right, there wouldn't, yeah, there still wouldn't be any developed kind of, which has always been the case.
I didn't look it up on the. Is it right at there with the drainage area coming
Yeah.
out of?
Map here.
Yes.
Yeah. It would be, you know, I don't know if it's either which side of the property it
Right.
is, it would be this property here, right? So,
Shady.
so it would provide access and. So,
And this.
yeah, so, you know, that's as far as,
We have some other conservation land. Which one?
well, it's not, no, it's not there.
It's somewhere near there.
Well, there's the river's edge, of course.
Well, that's what.
But then there's, yeah. That seemed to be the most appropriate, other than going into the
Yeah, that's good.
existing land, so, yeah, so that's, we can get more detail on that if we need it, or if they come back to us for more funds. Seemed like there was one other thing that the family said that they were okay with, but remember now.
I didn't think there was anything we'd asked.
No, I don't think so, but it was something else that Dwayne mentioned. Paul, anyway,
So do we, is there a urgency to get the money to them? Or
I don't think so. I mean, they want to
this
get
commitment?
it done by sometime next year, but,
Yeah. Okay,
ideally, sure, it'd be great if.
well, I'm gonna,
Immediately.
obviously, we voted on in the last minute, so the minute she's gonna send me, I'll make 2 files. Because it recorded our vote, and I'll nab the select board meeting minutes from the 6th, once they get
Yeah.
approved after the next meeting.
Yeah,
I just if there's gonna be, an urgent need for it.
yeah, I don't know at this point. I mean, they didn't indicate that, but, things could change. But I would think probably before the end of the year or
Yeah.
early in the next year.
Oh, there's gonna be, there's gonna be 3 meetings this month, so. Select board,
Yeah, they're pretty busy, I guess.
budgeting stuff,
Yeah,
they'll have approved minutes next week.
I think, yeah. So I think that's it for Doug's, unless anybody has any questions. Young Road, there's been some developments there, I guess.
Yeah, well, there was
your initiative.
There was a delay. I guess they
Yeah.
were supposed to have, at the last planning board meeting, they were supposed to have the continuation, and it was delayed until December 5th. I sent John Driscoll and Joyce as well, Joyce Capiello, some analysis of the 2 issues that had been brought up. One was that Bob Caverly found a Supreme Court case that somewhat contradicted what Thibodeau's lawyer had said, and said that intent can be taken into account, and that it should not be determined strictly by regulatory process and regulations that are in place. So I looked up what the case said, and I did a little summary of it and sent it on to John. The other thing, what was the other thing? It was what I had said, so I should
Vernal
know.
pools.
Oh, yeah, the vernal pool issue. So I did, follow up on what Doug had said, looked in the environmental survey, and indeed, they said that there are probably vernal pools in this one part of the property, but that they weren't going to look for them. And so, I said to John, my commentary on that was, it's likely that, given the presence of the prime wetlands in the vicinity and the importance of the habitat of the vernal pools to habitat continuity, that it's likely there's more of them on the property, and that it seems an environmental survey should include that. I talked to Mark Jacobs about that as well. He said it is not necessarily a standard part of an environmental, so there is no standard for an environmental survey, but it would have been appropriate to do that. And I asked him if it can be done outside of, the time you really want to look for them is between March and June, pretty much. And I said, well, can you do some kind of analysis that will tell you with any likelihood where they are? And I said, you can. The likelihood is that you will get false negatives, so you'll miss places. So which would end up being in their favor. So still, they, I said the sense of the Conservation Commission is that this needs to be done. And I also quoted the town documents about the buffers that are required, and it's at least 50 feet, and at the discretion of the planning board, it can be more. It's not, there's no determination on what more means. And that was passed in January 2001 or something like that. So they have their ammunition. We'll see what they do with it.
Okay, so I have one brief update that I've put in an inquiry or request to Steve Diamond, who's on the Regional Planning Commission. He's actually on the subcommittee that deals with what they call regional impacts. And this was actually used, I guess, successfully for the industrial park proposal down at 125 a few years ago. I'm not sure what came of it, but it seemed to slow down the process. And Don Wallace had suggested that this might be one more thing we could throw out there and see. But I haven't heard back from Steve
Oh,
yet.
yeah.
So I don't know whether he's up for taking it up or not. But hopefully I'll find out. So I guess that's it for Young Road at this point. Monitoring. I guess we
Well,
have
it's
something.
not a lot going on. I mean, we're gonna walk Village Place this weekend. We're gonna do River's Edge a couple weeks ago, but when I came back, I couldn't get it done. I'll complete that. I'll send out a new list. I'd like to do at least 2 more hikes before a year's end. We've really completed pretty much all that we need to do. I might pick up a couple that we scheduled for next year. So everything's on track. It's all good.
Good.
I filled every report for every 10, and everybody's pretty happy. And I'm waiting for 2 reports from Dan Cassidy on there are 2 hikes that he completed earlier this year that he has completed and filed reports for. I'm waiting to get the reports so that I can file them with the corporate bodies. So anyway, we are pretty well up to date on our hikes, but with the nice weather and everything we're having here in November, I'd like to complete at least a couple more.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
almost no snow.
And almost on that.
Not too much.
I think this is gonna last.
Yeah, it's not gonna last long. So that's good.
Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, good work. Keep that in. Wetlands buffer project, Paul and I were talking a bit earlier, but we do have a draft, I guess, final draft. How good you got it up?
Yeah, well, it's the second time it's said final draft, so
Well,
I mean, we'll
But
see.
this is going before the planning
Yeah,
board.
well, it is,
First
but so here's the issue. Ken, are you listening? You're muted. Well,
Ken, are you there?
Again.
No. Go ahead.
we're boring. Well, so,
Yes, I'm here.
okay, so Mark Jacobs called me up about, I had raised some issues with him where he was referring to, anything within a certain distance of the property. And I made the point that if the property was large, that could be a long ways away. And that was going to be problematic. And he had modified a couple of the articles to say the affected area instead of the property boundary. And he called me up because he wanted to talk it over. And, my comment was, well, it was more than those 2 items. There was actually about 5 or 6. And we were going through the text to modify it, and he realized that there was a problem with what we were doing. And that was that when we refer to the affected area, we don't have any reference for that on the GIS tools. So it's very hard to locate that, at least to the accuracy that we would need to take into account for a buffer that's going to be on the order of 20 to 50 feet. And he thought that would be putting us in legal jeopardy. So we decided 2 things, and Ken, you may take issue with this, but we decided that 1 year period where we were going to test this out was really going to be needed to figure out this piece out specifically. The other thing that we decided on that basis was that first of all, for large parcels of land, they shouldn't be impinging on the buffer in any case, because by virtue of the fact that they have a lot of land, they should have someplace else that they can go for whatever it is that they're doing.
Well,
Not necessarily,
like
but
pork chop lots could still have an impingement.
it,
Sure, access, yeah.
it could be, but so in the case, what I said was in the case of large properties where this did come into play, we needed to be able to specify which property lines we were talking about and possibly the extent of the property lines we were talking about. And we also needed to have text the fact that, you know, the expectation was that large properties would generally not be affected by this in any case, because there should be other options. Now, I thought he was going to put that text in here. Doug thought he saw it. I looked through it briefly. I didn't find anything, but that doesn't
Yeah,
mean
and I don't know if it was exactly what you were referring to.
was.
No, I did read through most of it. Seemed like there was something.
So
I think
anyway.
it was in the rationale part. If you scroll down.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming this is all part of the document, although not necessarily the regulations.
Did you send that out to everybody?
No, this just came in like an hour and a half ago.
It's pretty, yeah, it just came in today and we can send it to the whole
Yeah.
group, but
Discuss it next time.
yeah, it was just the folks that were on the short list, I guess, of participants. Yeah, I don't remember where I saw it, but I thought it was in the rationale.
So at any rate, I think I think in his presentation, he's not going to be presenting this with the intent that it will lead to a warrant article for the upcoming town meeting. I think he'll be targeting next year. So Ken, were you in agreement with that, or is this?
Yes, I was, and given what you just, I was fine with that. But given what you just said, I'm even more aligned with that. And I have to say, you know, you might say we're getting into some weeds here. These aren't weeds, these are wildflowers. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
Because we want an outcome here that you know, that makes sense and does good work and protects the resource.
Right.
And we're not talking about 3-5 years. We're just talking about another year.
Yeah.
So what will we be asking if we're not asking for the planning to present that as a warrant article? What are we asking them to do? Because he should be asking them to do something.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if they have to approve a trial period, but I think one of the things that needs to be worked out is going to be the Conservation Commission's participation in the process, you know, when the year is out and also in the interim. You know, we may want to, we don't know if any cases are going to come up where this is going to be exercised. So we may want to try it with some of the ones that come up where they're not impinging, just to see how the whole thing works.
I think you would like to get, probably good to have them approve internally that they're gonna do this with us. So that there's no question in June when someone brings something in and they just go, oh, well, yeah, sure, we'll give you 10 feet and forget about the whole thing.
Right.
We gotta.
Yeah.
Because I know that they're not all committed to this process.
Yeah, well, I thought having us do it sort of allayed a big part of the concern there. Mark really didn't like the fact that the Conservation Commission was going to be doing this work. He had really intended it to be, you know, the landowner that would be have primary responsibility. But I do see that as a real sticking point. You know, right now and probably for well, maybe forever, but certainly for the next 10, 15 years, there's a large part of the population that isn't comfortable using tools like this. And you know, there's always gonna be a certain part of the population that's not comfortable with that, so.
Well, if you were to look downstream, now I know the one meeting I got invited to, I said, you know, name me one process in town where a citizen wants, you know, a bending or a deviation from the rules, that they're not required to do the homework. And no one could come up with anything. That's why I was not really that much in favor of us doing the work.
I'm not thrilled with it either, but I think it's manageable.
Yeah, maybe if we do get it down to something and we prove that it's easy, maybe what gets moved to warrant is someone else does it, but I know there's some there that don't like it. If you look downstream, one of the things that could come out of this is, if we don't move fast enough, or if it does get moved to the requester and they don't want to do it, people may be going back to the drawing board and saying, let's not ask for changes in buffers. Because the normal thing is anytime you put a higher bar, even a little extra homework, people will change their plans to avoid it.
Right, and clearly, if we're gonna do that work, we have to be given time to do that.
I know, but that time, that might bug some
Right,
people, whether
yeah.
it's the requester or the planning
Sure.
board. And I'm sure there'll be some muttering, you know, like, we may not cancel a meeting because you gotta do this.
And of course, we gotta, in a sense, sell it to the public if it's gonna come up at town meeting. And as we've seen in the past, when things are kind of left to people's own devices, they often go down in flames. So it'd be nice to have at least some of the bugs worked out, or be able to say, hey, this is doable. It's not that onerous.
It could really stink that we get a bug-free process that we can punch out results in a timely manner. And then somebody goes and says, well, this is just government getting into your shorts, into your business. Like, well, no, you came to us asking for relief.
Right, yeah, no, but I think so. I think there's gonna be a discussion about some of, you know, how we're gonna move forward in the next year. And then obviously in a year, there's gonna be discussion about the warrant article.
But I agree with you, let's do some. So when the first one actually comes in,
Go ahead,
maybe
Cass.
someone more than,
So I have one more thought about even doing this in the next year, is that what I'd like to see, even if this isn't going to be done by the property owner, is that the property owner be aware that somebody's doing this. So that when someone comes in to, you know, apply for a conditional use permit, they know that this process exists, and that in the coming year, the Conservation Commission will have their fingerprints on it. So it's not some behind the scenes sneaky thing that they already don't understand, and it becomes a total black box.
So are you thinking about that even in the next year, that the landowner should be aware of it?
The landowners, I would like, and maybe this is just a new idea, I would like the landowner to know there's this process. And when the Conservation Commission makes a recommendation, they will be using this process. And I'm off the cuff here entirely. And landowner, you're invited to come talk with the Conservation Commission about it. We're not going to do it in secrecy. If you know, come and tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, and presumably we'll have a somewhat final draft of this
This may be,
document. Yeah.
You think it's too messy to do it in that way?
no, I don't, no.
Yeah, because in the past, this hasn't happened much lately, but in the past, when there were projects afoot, developers sometimes discussed it with us first before they went to the planning board. That was nice. Sometimes good came of that.
Discourage them. I mean, obviously, we're not looking for more work
Right.
to do.
Right,
You know, if they feel confident enough to give it a go, we should
yeah, no, I mean,
work together.
this should be a public document, even if it's not part of an ordinance.
Yeah,
Any real world examples of this happening right now? Either through.
Well, not exactly this one, right, but the one we always hear about is Kingston, East Kingston.
Right.
That has had it for like 25 years. It's not as sophisticated as.
Well,
this, but
It's a little, actually, it's more sophisticated.
It took you getting higher
Requires a wetland
experts to
sign.
get answers.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, it didn't seem to have as many steps or as many options, but.
Well, like I said, we got standings for not having an expert have to do
It
this.
required a professional, so it was very different in that way.
Yeah.
To draft it or to actually carry
To
it?
carry it.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's say you wanted to encroach on it for 20 feet or whatever, you were gonna have to go spend some serious bucks for
Yeah,
an
that's
expert to
expensive.
get it. And so that's why we task, is there something that can be done by mere mortals?
Right.
And unfortunately, that then shifted to, you guys can be the mortals.
Okay, so are one or either of you, both of you planning to go to the
Yeah,
meeting Tuesday?
Ken, you gonna be there?
I'll be there.
Yeah, I'll be there too.
All right, so you can, remember, back up, Mark, if there's.
The document that's been done so far, which I have seen, we're presenting this to the select board.
Well, there's been a working group.
Because I don't know if
Yeah.
I've really studied,
No,
read
it's
the
not-
article.
Yeah, it's not really
As good
official.
as I should have, so.
Yeah. Oh, I can
I-
circulate it around.
I-
Everybody else wants to
I
look
guess
at it.
I'd like to, if I'm gonna be.
Mark will
Make
be
sure I understand
presenting.
it.
Yeah.
Mark will be presenting it, not
Yeah.
us.
I mean, you're
I
welcome to
understand,
come
but I
Tuesday
I
if
need
you
to
want.
understand it.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
need to
sure.
understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and we all should obviously have some
I
familiarity
can't
with
just
it.
be like,
Yeah.
it's wonderful, because I.
Yeah.
No, that's why I think his suggestion, maybe we just grab any package, ask Barbara to leave us the information, and maybe we use the procedure and you've done it somewhat, so we can go through it and go, we understand.
I think Ken presented a draft earlier that I perused or.
Yeah.
partially.
Yeah, there've been-
There's been, I know
drafts.
there's been many drafts, and so, but I guess I'd like to see this one.
Yeah, and this certainly has a lot more explanation. If you
But-
want to get into the weeds, it's.
But we are
It's all
presenting this
there.
to somebody right now. We won't be reviewing this again at this board level.
Oh, yeah, I think we will. I mean, just obviously in terms of the practicality.
Yeah, I think actually Ken had talked about me doing a training session for the
Yes.
commission, so
That
that,
would be
yeah.
great.
So we each get
Because
a
you have
copy.
the expertise. You guys have way more expertise in this stuff. than I do, So I need to be trained, so.
Not all of them, trust me.
Yeah, well, we're all-
I need your-
Fine.
I need your input, I really do.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no. Ken, go ahead.
Hi, I trying to figure out how to put my hand down, but since I'm on anyhow, yes, Paul doing a training session, I think is almost essential.
Yeah.
And presumably sometime early in the new year. Is that
Yeah.
what we're looking at? Yeah. But certainly the planning board needs to support it, it's not gonna go anywhere if they don't, at least the majority, I guess.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Behind
thinking,
it, right?
if you could ask them for,
Draw a poll.
a vote somewhere along the line when they finally get a draft they like.
No, we need we need support from them.
Right,
We're
and
not
we're not gonna vote on their half saying we're gonna trial this for a year and the BCC will support us
Yeah,
with some brain power, but they have to make sure that it happens. I hate to see this thing bypassed. I don't want this to be the cutting permits that we see, a month after the cut's done.
Right.
okay, so I guess that's do it for now. So we'll see what comes out of this meeting Tuesday. You
Yeah.
can report back to us, I guess.
Right.
Is that all for you, Ken?
Yep, works for me.
Put your hand down.
You still got your hand up.
I can't figure out how to put it down.
It usually has, I don't know, in.
Yeah.
Teams,
Maybe I click it again. There,
Yes, I think that
There you
works.
you go.
no, yep, I think I did it.
Yeah, it's gone.
Okay,
Just like hitting that start button when you want to shut it down.
Right.
That was a Christmas story. I can't put my arms down.
Yeah. I don't know if we have anything else on Richardson Dam or other issues. Ken, you haven't heard anything new on Richardson?
No, the last email conversation, I had two conversations, one by email with Connor saying, yeah, probably another discussion at some point with the ABC, the Budget Advisory Committee at some point, but that hasn't been named yet. And I had a conversation with Joyce Capiello, who said, you know, who reaffirmed that the select board wants to get something done and not kick it down the road another year. So they would like to have something happen along the lines that we've been discussing for about a year and a half of something on the warrant article, some kind of shared cost with the Conservation Commission. Details to be worked out.
And I gather there's still a lot of engineering to do. I had checked in with our treasurer about the fact that we haven't spent that money, right? Or at least we haven't been billed for.
Yeah, no, that apparently nothing has been taken on that, but it's confirmed that at a meeting, and we passed it along, that we approved spending another $50,000 on engineering if that's required. So that's our good faith.
But I guess that's really by way of Connor or the town engineer. Wasn't that the plan?
Yep.
Want to split that with us?
Well, no, I mean, that's on us, I guess. But obviously at this point, something new has to be done because the figures are probably way out of date. You know, there are other factors to consider. But it would be good if the select board wanted to move on it within the year, certainly. We'll certainly need to get some better numbers.
Yeah, the chair was encouraging in that respect. Joy.
And let's see if we get all the other ducks in a row or cats herded or whatever the metaphor is.
Can we use the 50K as part of our final split?
No, unfortunately, that's
That's
a
already
problem.
decided.
That's one thing we could say, hey, we're all.
We've asked.
Yeah.
We've asked and
Yeah.
they said no.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But having any split, you know, that's more than 90-10 or something would be to our benefit. So,
We are not talking 90-10.
well, yeah, hopefully 50-50, but whatever.
We'll see.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's all for,
Yeah, there's nothing
Business.
new on the town forest
yeah,
thing.
I think so. Any other things from the Trails Committee or?
We had 8 people join us on the bear hike. By continually rescheduling it, it kind of hurt it from a turnout,
Yeah.
but the library people were happy. It was really hot out there in the bear mask.
It was a little sweaty.
But Lauren did a great job. She made up some lingonberry crackers, and she had these natural little pears, tasted just like Bartlett's. When she handed them out to really emphasize that you can find food out here, but most of her stuff is foraging and doing something with it. We probably should emphasize stuff that you can find while you're out there, roaming around aimlessly in the woods. And we did talk about some of that, but the people really enjoyed it. Something I want to do this winter is, and I've talked to several people and they said they would help me, is going to put up articles. I put them both on the conservation page, Facebook page, but also put them on FYI, since that's my baby too. I want to talk about water. Everything about it, the watersheds that we protect, the water supplies we feed, the cisterns. I already talked to Mark Moreau about talking about how we keep water off our roads, which is ditching and plowing, and what the Shoreline Water Quality Protection Act is, and some of the projects that have gone on in the lakes. And just to remind people that while, you know, everyone thinks about us as land and trees, it really is a lot about protecting water. And I've got an outline that I've been trying out different things. I want to add stuff so people know, like Rochester's plan for round, Now it's gonna affect the Berry River. And other things like you was talking about.
Can you
animals.
talk to that guy?
Okay,
I gave you the phone number.
Not yet. and I'm gonna talk to the Swain Village people too, since we're now active in that project. But it's something to put out there during the winter when we're not doing as much out on the trails and we're not. People can, all time and all time to write it.
Yeah, I noted the Celts newsletter, I guess, that the trail to the new swimming area is completed or they did a project on it. That might be, deserve some additional attention before the next swimming season. So,
Which swimming area?
They call it Swimming Rock, but it's.
Oh,
Stone and Swan, sorry.
It's just
No,
where they have the boat put in the fisherman area.
Okay.
They want to avoid having swimmers there and the traffic as well, so you have to go in where the kiosk is.
Oh,
the
okay.
main
Yeah.
Trailhead.
Well, there's even a lot out of the corner of the main road too. They want, they like the hikers to stay away from pond area. Save that for the boaters and the fishermen, who generally have a lot of stuff to tote. And for the hikers and for the swimmers, use those other two lots.
Right.
Plus, depending on how the Fish and Game does, driving into to the pond, that section of the road can be miserable.
Yeah. And crowded,
It needs a lot of water damage.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
and it was getting trashed out back this couple of years, I guess. People just getting really messy.
Well, that being one of the most popular spots,
Yeah.
all our trails have been getting trashed.
But at least I'm saying it'll be a smaller area if they're only going to the swimming area. Although I guess you can't, unless you're gonna have a ranger out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the trash comes from hikers, it comes from boaters, fishermen and swimmers alike. We don't have enough data to, but given that we get, bags left on our trail with little dog surprises and we get Coke
Right.
bottles and stuff, people have done.
Yeah.
I do enjoy nature.
Did you want to go to that? Chat?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
Yeah, that's taken care of. I did want to mention that,
I had one more issue.
Sure.
It's brief. I noticed in the newspaper online that the city of Rochester waste management got together and approved an additional 60 acres for your landfill site. Landfill site. But one of the commissioners had the guts to stand up and say he really thought that this should be a regional decision involving Barrington and Dover, which of course it absolutely should be. He was voted down by the remaining commissioners and they went for obviously on this in-house attack. But I don't think it's worthwhile. It wouldn't be worth to me, it's a highly irritating issue, as it should be for everyone in Barrington, because it impacts on not just the neighbors, but it impacts the entire region in Barrington. And it wouldn't be terrible for the Conservation Commission to at least make a statement in minutes that we support a regional expansion of the discussion of the impacts that is from a conservation standpoint of this landfill. I hate the damn thing, but it's spinning in. It's totally spinning in the wind. I got it.
and
But
it's got a long history.
it's got a long history and it's completely locked in with the mafia.
Yeah, that is kind of going outside the town, so we probably would want to talk to Connor before we put anything out there that someone would go, oh, look. Barrington, didn't like what Rochester did.
Yeah.
And just to show you the other side of it.
Something, I think we should say that. Why should we say that?
Well,
I
when you
think
go
we
outside,
should-
you go outside your own
We should
organization.
encourage the select man to say, this should be discussed.
Well,
That's
I assume what we're talking about is putting a comment, an official comment in during the process. I mean, there's not much more we can do.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
Not
not the end of the
anything
process.
we can do.
I think it's concluded. It's not like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do to prevent this.
And you should know there was a legal appeal, conservation law.
They fought, they sued him, and they lost.
Right.
I'm not certain exactly why they lost.
And
but
the
they
state of New
lost.
Hampshire is, frankly, had its head up that's, where.
Yeah,
For decades.
Yes,
I worked on
yes.
this 20 years ago.
yeah, I'll bet you did.
We're trying to get the state to do something to discourage all the,
Yeah.
out of state garbage coming in.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's been a real tough problem. I mean, it's not to say it couldn't be fixed at the state level, but it is a state policy that allows this stuff to continue. They were supposed to shut down, I think.
I just thought there was an opening because at least there was a crack of one guy.
Yeah, well,
That-
there's a lot of
that,
local residents there.
That said, it's reasonable that this should be
Yeah.
a regional decision, not just the Rochester.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And, that, that we can at least say, well, we gotta support what he says.
Yeah, it is a tricky issue though, because it's our garbage is going there. It's-
Yeah, and
It's, they throw things in the regular.
the current select board chair, Joyce, mentioned to me less than a year ago that this is a financial impact to us because we're gonna have to pay to tow our trash way upstate. It's gonna raise our rates, which means the bags will be more expensive at the transfer station.
Oh, they already are.
Yeah,
Well, I know.
$70.
Because it costs money to tow trash.
yeah.
Right now, it goes one town, hell, it almost borders our land, depending on what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Now they have to go way upstate
and
and
that's being fought over as well, as you may have heard. There's been
remember the Dalton
battle. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm just expressing. That's
No, I think we share it. It's just tough to know what would matter, what we could say.
Yeah.
And given that we're just advisory, I don't know whether the people that call the shots.
No, I mean, I put in a comment on it, talking about the air quality on the trails around there. And, they sent me this site where I'm supposed to report whenever the air quality is bad.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
make a point, I've only hiked out there in the winter.
Yeah.
I've never had a smell problem because it's 30 degrees out
Yeah.
and the river's frozen. That's great.
Yeah.
Your wife took us
Oh, yeah.
last year.
Yep,
It was great.
I was there.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm sure we'll hear more about it, but it's a tough situation. I had one other thing, it's not one of our committees, but I thought it'd be good to hear from the Energy Committee, because there's a public meeting coming up. I hope everybody knows about it.
So we had our first public hearing on community power, last Thursday.
Yeah.
And a whopping, so I had
Heard
been
a real
out,
jerk shit.
I had been, yeah. I had been out at the transfer station 2 Saturdays for, a total of about 8 hours. Doug was out there. Cindy Hoisington was out. We handed out a lot of brochures.
About
We've got
350?
something like that. We've got some in the library, but they're not moving. I'm excluding Jack. We had a whopping 1 person show. And, it was nice to have him there. We had a good conversation and it basically has changed the whole approach that we're going to take at the next meeting, next public hearing, should anyone show up to that one. And that's going to be on the 27th.
Well, we have an advantage there that it's also a select board meeting,
Right,
so
it
we have
is a
a
joint
captive
meeting.
audience of sorts, but they're already supportive
Well,
of
yeah,
it.
you'll have more select board members where you have any citizens.
Yeah, well, that's what we're suggesting, if you're all interested, even if you think you know all about community power, it's gonna affect everybody that has an electric bill.
If you get the boil down you're gonna use, send it out, try to get it out there.
I actually am going to send you the presentation. It's going to be much more of a Q&A.
And we will have somebody from the coalition.
There is going to be a rep from the coalition. He's an outreach coordinator of some sort, and I got to send him the presentation and make him aware that we are not doing their standard presentation. Because as you said, it was too complex. There was too much that was in the
But
weeds.
if you have like 3 bullets and one of them is, let's say you do it in the form of a question, like, how could we leave $800,000 a year in Barrington? for us to spend. That might attract people's attention. Don't give them the answer in the promo, whether it's me or just get it out there, because that's gonna attract attention
Yeah.
versus,
The savings that
some
should,
of the
yeah.
technical stuff on how community power.
I will run the presentation by you.
Yeah, I just, like I said, when it gets complex, the other side, and it's people that are against government in general, whatever, it's easy to say, just brand it as this is them taking control of, you would.
I mean, you can
You're
only,
power buying.
you can simplify it so far, but, like I
That
said,
answer the questions when they ask.
most of it is going to be answers to the questions that they pose. If they don't have questions, it's gonna be short.
Yeah, but
That's why we
I mean,
want
if we
to
could
get
get
people to
more
look
people
at
to
stuff.
show up and go,
Right.
where'd you come up with the $800,000 number? And how can we do this? And, or whatever some of the bullets we discussed last time, you guys gotta decide which ones are gonna have the greatest impact on the people you want to sign up. I don't know, if it's this thing is to sell it to the select board, then it's a different meeting.
No, it's not, it's
No,
not.
we're already
It's
sold.
not. The select board is fine.
Yeah.
There's no
We were
issues. The
unanimous,
select,
right,
yeah,
behind it.
yeah, there was no issue with the select board.
No, we need to sell it to the public. This is
Yeah.
coming up on the town meeting, in March, and I think we'd be the first town to
Yeah,
vote it down. if
right, we
did.
would. Every town
thinking.
to date has approved it,
Yeah.
and voted for
Paul, as I'm totally, can you in like a few sentences just explain what it is?
Cheaper electric rates, that's the
yeah.
bottom line.
it. Yeah.
For the town
Everybody.
or for
For the-
everybody?
Everybody.
Everybody.
For the-
Unless they opt out, which, is the,
It's an easier way to get cheaper electric power for
Okay.
everybody in town.
All right,
And it
unless you
will,
want to pay.
and for most people, they will be automatically be part of it. If they don't want to be, they can opt out, but most people will be a part of it.
And how can they get those? How can that work?
Is
How's that translate?
come to the front presentation.
I guess I'll-
I can give you the short answer.
I'll answer questions.
The state legislation that allows this.
How about, how is that?
We can, I mean, when the questions start, we can get into the weeds as far as the people want to go. Yeah.
But is it
But-
essentially a co-op?
It is in a way, yes, because we're doing it through the Community Power Coalition of New Hampshire.
It's a
So
nonprofit
group of
corporation,
municip-
right?
It is. It's a group of municipalities that are pooling to purchase power at advantageous rates.
Yeah, a good chunk of the town, like 70% is still using the Eversource default rate. Last year, that.
Oh, that's a terrible idea.
I know,
That's
because
a
I'm,
really
I'm
terrible-
buying green power at
That's
9.1
terrible.
cents. I read it again
But
today.
it's 60% of
But
the
it's-
residents.
Yeah, 60%, okay, but they paid it topped out or over 20 cents last year. And
Yeah.
here's a chance where we,
And
why don't you join the team that's got more clout than you do as an individual?
and if not that, at least, Jesus, the other options are.
And this is.
Well, the other good thing is, once you're in this, and once you're in this,
Yeah.
you don't have to do it every contract, because like I'm buying,
Every year you got,
Third
or
party.
every year. and
It depends on how long your contract is. You can buy for 1, 2,
Well, let's
30 months.
we don't need to.
Okay, okay.
I'll let you-
But anyway,
I'm good, I'm.
if you want to know more, come to the select board meeting.
Well, you're trying to end this
Wednesday,
under an hour, so
27th, that's a week from Monday. Right?
After next week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is that Monday after?
Yeah.
yeah. Thanksgiving's early this year.
Sure, yeah.
There is information on the website. I'm sorry, I was gonna bring one of the flyers. You don't have any. with you.
No, I took them out.
Yeah.
Oh, I gave them a community.
Dated.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I guess from an environmental, conservation point of
Well,
view,
Thursday's the 30th, so that's a Monday.
it gives us more opportunity at least to pursue renewable energy, possible solar.
It immediately gives you a choice in the
Right.
great choice for greener options.
Yeah.
And over the longer term, potentially, we can do a lot with other projects and modifications to the infrastructure with whichever source is not interested in at all.
No,
and
they
actively
would help.
thwart such efforts, as you may
Yeah.
know.
But like,
metering to.
but like I cautioned at the meeting, if no one asks those questions,
No, I
Yeah.
know.
don't talk about, oh, this will give us money to build a solar.
Yeah.
Don't go there. Right now, sell it as the,
Yeah.
here's the benefit to you, Joe Q
Right.
citizen,
Yeah,
or Mrs. Q citizen.
Yeah.
And that's pretty convincing.
yeah, it should be. I mean, if people want to save money, why you'd want to pay more money. So, yeah, so anyway. Well, definitely look into it. And there's a lot of information on the website.
There is, yeah,
Just go to the town website and then.
the
committees.
energy committee and there's community power section under that.
Yeah, but I'm looking at, what we can give people in 3 or 4 sentences.
Right.
Because a lot of people won't go to the link,
Yeah,
especially when they go there and a whole shows up.
No, and yeah, you've got to be kind of dedicated to go through that because.
Yeah, and I did because of you guys and the fact that I've been pushing, go to the PUC and buy power anybody but the high price guy that's sticking it to you. I'm probably on a hit list with Eversource.
yeah, yeah,
They just don't.
Still
care.
talking about this rates here, so.
yeah, yeah.
A
Well,
lot of those
most
power
people are.
administration rates are pretty cheap.
Yeah, yeah, well, for various reasons. But ours should be
A lot
cheaper. Yeah, and they will be cheaper if this succeeds.
Yeah.
Which it is growing in leaps and bounds. What's the percentage of the state now? It's 30.
There's at the last meeting, there were 44 towns that had signed up. Now, they may not all enroll in the
That
end.
includes us.
Yeah, that does include us, but that's up from 35 or 33 just a month or two ago.
And in terms of the overall the state, it's.
Well, it was 25%, but now I don't know what. it is.
Yeah, it includes like the whole city of Nashua, and then there's some independent ones like the city of Keene that are doing it on their own. But the basic point is to get away from relying on the big bad utility. They'll still be running the power lines and all, but they won't be.
They won't be buying power for us.
Sounds like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's a fundamental
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
that in a relationship,
Good.
don't be the small fry.
Yeah.
Do anything you can to have power in the negotiation.
Well, I don't want to cut off the good conversation
I like
that
it.
I care about, but.
But you can have a 1-hour meeting here if we,
Yeah,
someone says, this is our squirrels, we adjourn.
all right.
Real busy. Have one.
Any wildlife sightings?
No great horned owls.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
Everybody. Yeah. It's daily.
Yeah, good.
They had an 8 porcupine at the middle school the other day for the arts and crafts event.
A live
The
one?
wildlife encounters guy. It was an African
Oh.
porcupine or
Oh,
something.
it's his.
Really weird looking.
Creator, yeah,
But
yeah. nothing
he says that
negative.
he's revised his plans and he plans on maybe next year setting up on Beauty Hill Road.
Oh, yeah,
His new
yeah,
facility.
that's he's still needing permits or what?
I didn't get into everything because he was, talking to kids and citizens.
But I thought it was interesting that they listed him as businessman of the year or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
Chamber of
that.
But
Commerce.
business isn't happening yet, or at least.
Well,
Well, it is, but he's in town. He just can't bring his animals here.
Yeah.
But he has done stuff, including he bought
so
our bee patches.
where are his animals?
Rochester.
Yeah, that's where they've always been, I guess. Yeah.
Because he put up a barn and all
Oh,
kinds
yeah,
of stuff.
no, he's intending to move, I think, everything.
Yes, but COVID kind of changed their business plans as far as what they're all gonna do with the site, so they changed their plans, hopefully making it more agreeable. He said,
Yeah.
didn't get into a lot of specific details.
He aggravated your brother,
Steve or Brian?
Brian. Yeah, Woody.
Lots of beautiful deer.
Oh, what is she?
Yeah, he put
Lots
up
of beautiful deer in my meadow. Lots of fisher cats.
There's always
I've
something.
seen it.
Yeah.
There's
You hear 'em.
Fisher cats scat and I hear them all over the place,
Yeah.
so. And they're quick, I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah.
You probably don't wanna see them because they decide they want your ankle.
Yeah, I always wondered about that. But they're really attached to.
They're pretty small.
I don't think.
Yeah,
I mean,
There's
they're
stories of.
Yeah. I just think of the Tasmanian devil
I
cartoon.
saw them last, I saw them last year, but I haven't. If I've seen them, they're all over, I know.
Yeah.
they're out.
Yeah,
I've seen one, caged up and they're just nonstop motion.
yeah. We did have a bear come by. I didn't see it,
Oh,
but
yeah,
it knocked over our feed barrel for our chickens and
Okay.
evidently it didn't like what we were serving. So it dumped it all out and then left. It's pretty rude. I guess they prefer sunflower seeds. We didn't put them out. So.
Yeah, I guess they got a bear problem somewhere down in Massachusetts and they named it Pumpkin because it was taking people's pumpkins, which hey, after Halloween, who cares?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he got tired of pumpkins and he went and killed someone's goat.
Oh.
So now the town's out to get him.
Wow.
So pumpkins in danger.
Yeah, but hopefully they'll be going away for the season soon.
Yeah, I haven't put up my feedings yet.
Okay.
Make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Sounds good. See you, Ken.
Okay.
I have new neighbors.
Bye, that was fun.
There.
Okay, catch you later.
World's
Worked
class.
out pretty good.
I mean,
See you on
they're
Tuesday, I
making
guess.
like the top 10 burgers in the world.
Who is this guy?
They're world,